played the game Assassin's Creed, if you've seen the logo, it's like the letter A, and then it has like this like rocker underneath it. It kind of looks like a chevron if you were in the army and you're a specialist. If you became a staff sergeant in the military, so on and so forth, they have the rocker. And then of course, well, what could that mean? What does it refer to? And if you played the game, you would understand history and how certain things link together, right? Same concept if you played Final Fantasy, read comic books, and then you played that out in your life a little bit. See, because people do have to learn, but they all have different ways of doing it, right? Now, when it comes to studying body language, one of the things that I learned very early on was how do I say this? How to identify what type of learner someone is. Now, a lot of people will say like, oh, if you look this way, that way, so on and so forth. And, I will put up proof and I'll try to get the links for it. But for instance, if the person is a visual learner, they will normally look up when recalling a memory because that's how they recall and take in information. They do things visually. If they look sideways, left or right, so on and so forth, what's it called? And people will get into further like definitions on what each side means, but it takes a lot more than that, yes? However, if they look left or right, they're auditory learners, right? So they learn by hearing, right? Not just by other ways, but that's their most dominant one. So that's why they look at that when they're recalling some type of memory. Now, for the people who are kinesthetic learners, the people that actually have to do things in order to learn, so on and so forth, they will look down because normally when you're constructing something, you take a number 2 pencil and start writing something down, you're looking down, right? So they're already formulating in their brain, right, whatever it is that they're drawing, constructing, sketching, etc., yada, yada. So when I look at different things, I come to this mentality where, well, there has to be a connection and a reason for it. And what does it mean? Well, I look at it as, if you remember in class, one of the lessons 1 through 10, creativity, right? If you were to take a baby and put it in a swing, right, and push that thing, right, it would make the same symbol, right? And what's one of the things they teach you how to do in the military is not only pack what's known as a day pack, but when you have kids, because they teach you how to, take care of children, they show you how to pack stuff, right? You're going to need extra clothes. You're probably going to need diapers, right? You're going to need other things. You're going to probably need formula, extra, extra, I don't know, pudding, or, Gerber, whatever. Let's put some toys in there, etc. Maybe some of you don't have children, so you get an animal or a pet or a dog. Same concept if you go on a small hike, right? You got to bring extra water, a bowl, so on and so forth. Maybe a towel because there's water and the dog gets in, so the, thing wet, or a sheet for the back of your car, and it keeps you prepared, right? But there's different ways of going about it. So, when we teach visually, auditorily, and physically as well, and it expedites the learning process. Sometimes we just say, we're going to break this down Barney style. So let's continue. Because at the end of the day, what you're doing is taking care of children. So I look at that symbol and I play the game and I hear the history and the people in it. And I guess it takes a family to raise a village. But, just as in culture does, capoeira came from dancing, so on and so forth, because people weren't allowed to do martial arts or practice self-defense. But then we have break dancers, right? And then break dancers are, what capoeira is with martial arts, etc., as well as understanding of timing and rhythm. So when you hear a boxer say, oh, he has broken rhythm, right? It's also a fighting reference as well. Or, he's in step. Just like in dancing, it's moving with the beat or something that they're listening to, because all you have to do is stay on something within the musical notes and you're good. So you could do the tempo, musicality,